If we give the sound, we're pretty sure it's frogs.
Street food. Welcome back to Street Food, the show with a snack-sized portion of Chinese food and culture. I just wrapped up an epic food trip through Osaka and Kyoto, and now I'm taken to the skies to meet up with my family in Hong Kong. The cultures of Hong Kong and mainland China are very, very different. We're going to explore that a little bit in the next couple episodes. Due to the nature of living overseas, we often have to leave the country in order to update our visa stuff. Hong Kong is one of the most convenient places to do that, but it's hard to do it on a budget because it's basically an island covered with giant shopping malls. We found an Airbnb on the island of Peng Chau, which is about an 8-minute ferry ride from Discovery Bay, where a lot of the expats live. We spent about a week on the island, which gave us a lot of time to relax and unwind. We hiked, played on the beach. So this whole beach just smells like incense all the time, because it's constantly being burned. Peng Chau has a temple to the Mother of Dragons.
There was a beautiful and clever woman who lived here, and she found a rock on the beach one day, but it wasn't a rock, it was an egg, and 5 serpents hatched out of it and ran away. But then 5 years later they came back to her covered in scales, and they were dragons. Dragons are very lucky here. So the emperor apparently heard about it and sent an envoy to retrieve this woman. But every time the ships would leave, the dragons would drive the ships back. So that happened like, I don't know how many times. And the envoy finally was like, look, we should just leave her here because we can't take her because of the dragons.
Like some GOT season 6 stuff.
Even the emperor couldn't get her.
Dragon legends, how we roll up in China. Like I said before, the culture of Hong Kong is very different from the culture of mainland China. Obviously, language is a big difference. In Hong Kong, the primary languages are Cantonese and English. Speaking Mandarin will get you nowhere. In my experience, you're much better off just going with English, unless you can speak Cantonese, which I cannot. I can recognize the sound of Cantonese. Hong Kong also has a lot of British influence due to how long it remained under Great Britain. There's also a lot more visible religious iconography. Mainland China has plenty of temples too, but I feel like little shrines like this are everywhere in Hong Kong. While the little islands are pretty chill, the main island is a constant bustle. Let's talk about some Hong Kong milk tea. In the mainland, the best milk tea you can get is in Guangdong. That's the province on the southern border of China, right above Hong Kong. But Hong Kong milk tea is in a class all by itself. Across from the 7-Eleven on Gage Street, under a bridge, packed into the background of Hong Kong, is a famous milk tea shop called Lan Fong Yuan. Since 1952, they've been serving up milk tea, creamy and super strong Hong Kong styles. There's a little restaurant inside, but I sat outside by the tea station / giant bag of sugar delivery zone. So this dude has kettles of tea boiling all day, non-stop. It wasn't super busy when I first got there, late morning on a weekday, kind of an off time, but it started to fill up with a lunch crowd by the time I finished. Dude was getting prepared for the rush, stacking mugs, pre-pouring this evaporated milk, pouring sugar, just getting set, you know. You can also get iced milk tea. He's got a jug of tea that he cools, pours over ice, and he adds the milk on top. But all the hot teas I saw him pour came right out of these kettles. The way this guy strains and pours the tea is really the best part of this shop. Inside every kettle, there's a long tea bag. You add some tea, you add some hot water, the tea brews and it stays warming on the stove. The boss is running a system of straining and pouring back and forth, maximizing the strength of the tea. People ask, how do they get the tea so strong? It's not just about the kind of tea you use or adding more tea. It's this straining and brewing system, which is next level. Now this Lan Fong Yuan tea is no joke, okay? I'm a big fan. With lunchtime now in full effect, I went looking for a snack. In between the rows of buildings, under the scaffolding, tucked into the alleys, you can find plenty of street carts. So for lunch, I hit up this spot for some fried wontons. And to go with that, some beef brisket noodles. I was out of luck when I tried to look up the Chinese name for this dish.
Ao lam mai.
Ao lam mai.
Yes.
Now in Mandarin, beef brisket can be called niu nan, and then these rice noodles are for sure called mi fen. I don't speak Cantonese. If you're watching this and you know the Canton name of this dish, please leave it in the comments below. This dude had a giant pot of beef, slow cooking. It took him less than 60 seconds from the time I ordered until this bowl of noodles was at my table. The fried wontons were crispy, a little greasy, filled with a whole lot of nothing. There's like 2 green onions in there. The beef was decent. Rice noodles kinda undercooked from my taste, but I think that's normal for around here. The best part of this was the broth. It's like a Vietnamese pho, all beefy and full of nutrients. Dip a wonton in the broth, good stuff. Just me and a bunch of people getting our lunch on. Look, I'll admit, I have had better bowls of noodles, but that milk tea was second to none. Next week, I let Ashley join me for the vlog, finally. We're gonna get her take on Hong Kong, we're gonna talk dim sum and Disney World. Join us for that. Until then, keep eating on the street, friends. Watching out for those parasites. Street food.